this zone that I've been talking about, the order block beneath us, and how I think it's more likely that we're going to actually sweep that order block and get that wick through it, because I think a lot of people will have orders here and a lot of people will have their stop losses here, again, in the event that the fractal plays out. Well, if it isn't Geo's 1 hour fractal from 3 to 4 weeks ago that played out perfectly, and if you remember what I said in that video, because I'm a man of my word, I said, if it happened, then I would be here to tell you I told you so, and if it didn't happen, then we would bury the video and forget it didn't happen. Well, because I'm a man of my word, it happened. And so we are going to go over it, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, 3-4 weeks ago, I made a video talking about a 1 hour fractal that I randomly, on a random day, found from April 2023, okay? April, May 2023, 1 hour fractal. If you don't know what fractal is, basically all time frames, the market makers move the price on all time frames, all the same throughout all time frames, everywhere, always, all at once. That movie, it happens on the same thing. Like, you could find a 1 hour fractal and it'll play out on the daily and it'll play out whatever. And so this, what you're seeing on your screen right now, is the 1 hour fractal that I found. And I could not help but notice that it looked so similar, so similar, if we turn our vector candles off, so similar to our macro daily time frame. And so I told you so. Even though you told me, right? I said we're going to have a big dump, minus $10,000 candle. I've been raving about it on Twitter, whatever. Even though I told you so, and some of you pencil necks, you told me, what did you pencil necks tell me? You guys told me, Geo, stop misleading your subscribers. Geo, the price can't go down that far. The inflows, the ETFs. Geo, you're a perma bear. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. If I'm a perma bear, then read this fucking perma paw, baby, because shit went down just like I said it would. And so, while you draft up your apology to me in the comment down below, which I will forgive, by the way, while you're writing an apology to me, I think it is my responsibility to take this 1 hour fractal, which from now on, we're going to call it Geo's 1 hour fractal. And believe me when I tell you, I was the only one talking about this. And if I wasn't, it's because somebody else saw my video and then recapped it after me, because I found this randomly in April. Geo's 1 hour fractal. I feel like it is my responsibility to now complete the path of Geo's 1 hour fractal so we can all talk about it and raise awareness to it, and not be ignorant to the idea that maybe the rest of the fractal plays out. Hey, I don't know if it's going to, but this part played out, and that's why we're making this video. So, I forgive you, by the way, but let's catch up where we left off. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last video. I'll put it somewhere, one side, whatever, and then click it, and then come back and watch this, because so far, the fractal worked out. If you listen to me, the perma bear, hello, then you would have been okay. So look, let's hit that fractal, okay? Where do we leave off, actually, from the last video? Where did we leave off? Well, we ended up having the big dump that we, were expecting, right? And by the way, if you don't remember that all the percentages right now based on prices or whatever are a multiple of 3. So if you dump 30% here, which, I mean, I don't know if we did. No, it was like 15% or 12%. Then you actually dump a total of 45% or 40, like multiple of 3, okay? Multiply it by 3. So look. From the high to the dump low, it was 33%. From this high on the fractal to the low, to the dump low, only the dump low that we're at right now, it is 11%. So the fractal, remember, it's a multiple of 3. The fractal's on point so far. What happened after our dump? This is where we left off, because this is where, that part didn't happen. The massive dump that, and nobody was warning you, and everyone was saying, did you buy the dip? Did you buy the dip? And I was warning you, and I was talking about Geo's 1 hour fractal, but nobody else was. Yeah, that happened. So what happened after that? Okay, that's what we're going to play catch up right now. This line, I'll actually move this line. This line is basically present day. I'll give it a little bit. You know what? I'm not going to get the line. Post dump, we're here. Okay, we're here. We'll move the line back, whatever. Here is where we are currently right now. Okay, so you can see this is the daily. When you have the yellow thing above it, that's your daily. Okay, that's the daily. And then when you don't, that's going to be the hourly fractal that we are mimicking, okay? So let's go over what happened after the dump. After we had our dump, you had quite the retracement to the upside. Let's see. We had a 5%, and we're going to round numbers, guys. Don't be weird, okay? We had a 5% pump after we caught this wick, whatever it was, right? 5% pump. Remember, it's a multiple of 3. Where are we at now? We had a low. If you hold the shift tool and you go up, now we're at, 27% back to the upside. So that we're already not really being in line, but 27% move to the upside. What I actually find is a little bit more interesting, however, is where we actually rejected from, okay? So the golden pocket /786 area is where we ended up getting that rejection from. Now, fractals are never going to be exact, okay? If you remember in my last video, I was talking about the fractal, and the fractal played out, but it went a lot higher than I thought it was going to, okay? This was the line that we were talking about, how everybody got bullish. You know, I made my case on how Bitcoin and Ethereum work in tandem, and Ethereum didn't look great, so that's not what this video is about, but it went higher than the fractal suggested. And so my reason for bringing that up right now is because if this low was destined to be where this low was, however, Bitcoin went a little bit higher than it was projected relevant to the fractal, okay? Then that would affect how much, first of all, a percentage back up you would get, and that would affect your golden pockets, okay? So on the 1 hour time frame, you came up to the 786. Now, I'm not saying we're going to reject from where we are in this exact moment, because once again, fractals cannot and will never be one-to-one. However, we are looking in general at this area between the 786 and the golden pocket. The reason I even brought up the fact that Bitcoin had a larger move to the upside, if it never had this, in my opinion, very, very heavily news-related, manipulated move to the upside, and I said it, I didn't expect it to go that high. Sure, in that regard, I was wrong. However, if it didn't go as high as I thought it, or it shouldn't have went, I mean, you can't say shouldn't have. It's not up to me, right? But in my opinion, it was a heavily news-related. It was all weekend moves. We left a huge CME gap. It was all like Trump-related and government, whatever, right? So let's just pretend that Bitcoin stayed where it would normally have rejected from, which was that high, give or take, that we were looking at. You come a lot closer to your 786. The only reason I'm bringing that, and before you say I'm stretching, like you guys, some of you, said in the last video, I mean, come on, I don't, this is not stretching. Come on now. Anyways, my point is, if it didn't go as high as it went, then we would be rejecting, give or take, from the same point. Now, fractals don't need to be one-to-one anyway, so why am I even talking about this? Doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. The point is we had a big wick to the downside. We shook everybody out. We have people saying, haha, you didn't buy the bottom, even though they've been saying that literally the entire way down. And by the way, down, not down, like we're still in a range, right? But let's go over the fractal. Let's continue the fractal. What happened in the fractal? On the 1 hour time frame, you had a nice SFP, okay? And you came back into the range, but then you fell through anyways. I think that is very reminiscent of what's happening right now. I think a lot of people are saying, ooh, big SFP, we got all that liquidity, we got to come back up, right? Well, I'm going to tell you this. Let's look up some similarities, right? On the fractal, you can see that after we had that fake move, we were rejected from the golden pocket 786, and then where did we fall to? Give or take, we'll call it from the first dump here. Give or take, we fell 6%. Now remember, we are on a multiple of 3. So if we're here right now and we fall 18%, give or take from where we are right now, where would it lead us to? Okay, the numbers are a little bit skewed because we know that we didn't actually get that same rejection. But anyways, look, let's do it this way. I like this way. Let's say from the high, the all-time high on the 1 hour to the low, okay, to the low was 14%. So this we did in the last video. Multiple of 3 of that is 45%. If you bring this down 45%, give or take, it brings us down to the low 40s. I believe that we actually may get a move down to the low 40s. I've made this case many times. I've talked about it on the channel many times. And I personally still don't think that the low is in. In my opinion, from what I'm seeing, and before you guys, you pencil neck me, my opinion, okay? What I'm seeing on the internet is people are still a little bit too reckless with their longs and their buys. They're still condescendingly asking if you bought the dip, And look, I said the same thing that happened over here with this liquidity that I'm going to say right now. And this is my opinion. When you do not correctly accumulate, you get a move to the downside. And it's very simple. There is liquidity that resides under these lows. And so these are the reasons why on Twitter I can say Bitcoin right now is primed for a minus $10,000 move, and then it happens. Guys, right now what's happening is not any different at all than what happened a month ago, 2 months ago. We hit a low. We still did not stay down. Remember what I said, what I've been saying is I believe Bitcoin needs to stay down and have a proper accumulation to go higher, right? We have a lot of interest, or sorry, we have a lot of, I guess, a lack of interest in buyers in this zone. People aren't interested in touching Bitcoin at 60K. This is not my opinion. This is volume that's telling you that. This is the lack of price being able to push higher. And this is on a macro scale, us getting rejected at the macro value area low, which means people don't want to pay even the low end of it, the value area low of this range. And that's why we're getting our rejection from right now. So we left this liquidity below. We left this liquidity below. On the fractal, it was the same story, okay? Same story. We talked about this liquidity. Oops. We talked about this liquidity, which we had perfectly in the fractal, okay? And then we had our massive drop. But what did we have after the drop? We didn't have a proper accumulation. And that's why I believe price ended up coming back down to this wick. Because in order for people to come to this, or in order for us to be pushed back up into this, what's considered fair value zone for Biddy, there, in my opinion, there needs to be a proper accumulation. And so if I come down on a smaller time frame, what you'll see on the 1 hour is just liquidity being built up. No different than right now. This is liquidity being able to be built up right now. And this is dollar signs. And these are the plays where you can start to get really aggressive moves to the downside. Because like I said, people are a little bit too confident, I would say, that the low is in. And in my opinion, people are a little bit too entitled, thinking that they have to get a bull market and that this time needs to be like the last time. We need to come and take the highs again. We don't, guys. We've already been over this. We already learned this, that the market can be as irrational as it wants to be. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is market cipher, okay? So a lot of people right now, you know, we got, first of all, on the daily time frame, we do have a triple bull div. That is a very bullish thing. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I'm not going to deny reality like some of you. But we do also have money coming out, okay? If you come on like the 8 hour, this is a little bit concerning. I mean, thick red money flow, all this move to the upside, right? We had a 30% move back up to the upside that was basically up only, yet money is still not getting, it's actually getting more thick in the red. That's kind of, that should kind of scratch your head a little bit and should kind of get you more confident in Geo's 1 hour fractal. But why is the money not coming in if we had this much of a move to the upside? It's a little bit worrisome. But most importantly, okay, the daily that has the bull divs doesn't have the money flow divs, so they're not really technically spike waves, but they have the bull divs. If you come back on the 1 hour time frame, okay, if you come back on the 1 hour time frame, it's the same story, guys. It's the exact same story. We had money flow. Actually, we had money flow coming in and this happened. Right now, money flow is coming out and it hasn't happened yet. But we were getting bullish divergences here on the 1 hour time frame while we put in this low as well, right? Like we absolutely had bullish divergences and yet we still came down and we still needed to accumulate before evidently coming back higher, okay? And so I just wanted to bring up this fractal and I wanted to bring up like, you know, what happened here after where we left off in the last video. And I just encourage you all not to be ignorant to the idea that Bitcoin can come lower. I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen as of right now. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this fractal is going to happen 100% because nothing in trading is 100%. It's all probabilities. But what I am going to tell you is the same thing that I told you last time. And if this part B, okay, part 2 of Geo's 1 hour fractal happens, then I'll be here for part 3 to make another video for you guys saying I told you so. And if it doesn't, then we'll sweep this video under the rug and, you know, I'll still go 1 for 1 because, you know, perfect records and all that. But we'll see what happens here. You know, I think in the next couple days, we'll have a very good idea as to what may happen here on Biddy next. And, you know, we are at a very big decisional moment. And I just think people are a little bit too reckless with the buys. That's just what I think. You know, we're on the brink of collapse and everything else. And I'm not a newspaper, so I'm not going to talk about that. I don't even know anything about that, if I'm being honest. But what I do know is that my fractal was working. And what I do know is that my fractal can say much, much lower. And if we do end up hitting the fractal target, okay, which is, remember, a multiple of 3. So this was 15% to the downside, 14. If we do end up getting, 45, whatever percent to the downside from the high, I believe for us to come down and spend a significant amount of time down in the low 40s, I actually believe that that will be a very bullish thing for Bitcoin. So if the idea of low 40s scares you, I want to A, remind you that we've literally been up only and it shouldn't scare you. But B, in order to come back up and break through this lack of interest at 50K, 60K, not 50, between the 60s and 70s, very clear lack of interest, in my opinion. In order for us to get there, we need to go down. We need to stay down, because I don't know if you've noticed, but every single dump that we've had has just been bought right back up, leaving a lot of liquidity below. And this time, in my opinion, is no different. A lot of liquidity being built up behind, still bullish sentiments across the board. Still, in my opinion, much, much higher reason to go down. If it doesn't happen, great. Then we're all millionaires. Bitcoin goes to 100K. But you guys know on this channel, I keep things real and I do not lie to you. So look, if the fractal plays out and we do hit that final target, perhaps this, by the way, let me just add, nice looking accumulation, very nice looking accumulation. We actually fell down. We stayed down. We started to range. We got a nice stopping volume wick, nice fake out play, one last capitulation, and then up and away we went. And then I guess the rest we'll have to see for part 3 if we get there. But I believe Bitcoin needs to do something similar in order for it to see higher prices. And you know what? Not only would I not be mad if that happened, but it makes trading way easier. You know, like if it does this up only thing, this up only garbage, and it doesn't actually purge any liquidity, it doesn't give you any real accumulation. I mean, it makes the shorting easy, but it makes this kind of play hard because I'm not a trend line trader. I don't do that. Anyways, I'm rambling, guys. Geo's 1 hour fractal part 2 is in the books. If you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. If you love the content, hit the notification bell. And can we get hashtag Geo's 1 hour fractal in the comments? Because I am a freaking magician. That's it for today's video, guys. I'll see you next time.